You squeeze the bottle and nothing comes out. Just that sad, empty sputter of air and a thin smear at the bottom you scrape with your finger to wash one more pan. So you write it on the list again, dish soap. And at the store, the bottle that was $1 when you were young is $4 now, sometimes 5, sometimes 6 for the brand your mother used. You drop it in the cart without even looking, because what else are you going to do? Wash the dishes with water. Now look under your sink. Go ahead. Picture it. There is the bottle, and behind it the spare bottle, and the big jug you bought because it was cheaper by the ounce. Plastic, all of it, headed for the landfill the moment it runs dry. And under every sink in every house on your street, the same row of bottles, the same trip to the store, the same few dollars handed over again and again. A family washing dishes by hand goes through 8, 10, a dozen bottles in a year. Call it $40, $50, $60 a year for soapy water in a plastic bottle. And not just this year. Every year. Forever. As long as you have dishes to wash, which is to say, as long as you live. Now I want you to sit with this. There is a way to make a year's worth of dish soap. Real dish soap that cuts the grease off a cast iron skillet and leaves your glasses clear from about $4 of plain ingredients you can buy at any grocery store. $4. Not for a bottle, for a year. It does not go bad. It does not separate into something useless. It cleans the same on the first day and the last. And the whole thing is a bar of honest soap, a spoon of a common mineral, and a pot of hot water. That is the entire secret, and by the end of this video, you will know it well enough to never buy a bottle again. My name is Elias Yoder. I am Amish, and I farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. In our house, nothing comes in a bottle from the store if it can be made at the sink for pennies. My grandmother made the dish soap, and her mother before her, and I have watched it done 1,000 times standing on a stool by the stove as a boy. Today, I am going to tell you exactly what goes in it, the right way to make it so it comes out smooth and not a clumpy, ruined mess. The one ingredient folks grab by mistake that ruins the whole batch. Why it does not foam up like the store kind, and why that does not matter one bit, and why the company that sells you that bottle will never, ever print this recipe on the back of it. For the folks who want all of it, every recipe and method I have shown on this channel and the ones I have not gotten to yet, I have gathered it into a book at my website, eliasyoder.com. I will not mention it again in this video. If you want it, it is there. Now let me show you how it is made. Here is the thing that makes the rest of this simple, and almost nobody is taught it. The bottle under your sink is not full of soap. It is mostly water. 60, 70, 80 parts out of 100 is plain water you paid soap prices for and carried home in a truck. The rest is a little cleaning agent, a great deal of foaming agent so it suds up and feels powerful in your hands, some thickener to make it pour slow and rich, some dye to make it blue or green, and some perfume so it smells like a meadow. You are paying $4 for water, bubbles, and the smell of a meadow. Real soap, the thing that actually lifts grease off a plate, is one of the oldest things people know how to make. Fat and an alkali cooked together, and the soap that forms has a clever shape. One end of it loves water, and one end of it loves grease. When you wash a greasy pan, those tiny pieces of soap grab the grease with one end and the water with the other, and when you rinse, the water pulls the whole lot down the drain, grease and all. That is all cleaning is. There is nothing magic in the bottle. The magic is in the soap, and you can hold a bar of it in your hand for less than $1. And here is the part that ought to make a soap company nervous. There is nothing in that grease that can ever learn to resist this. It is not a poison the dirt grows used to. It is the plain physics of one end grabbing grease and the other grabbing water, the same on the first plate you ever wash and the 10,000th. The bottle gets fancier and more expensive every few years. The chemistry of a grease-cutting soap has not changed in 100 years and never will. Here is everything that goes in, and the whole list costs about $4 and makes a year of soap. You need 1 bar of plain, honest soap. not the perfumed beauty bar full of lotions and creams. Those leave a film. You want a pure Castile bar, an olive oil soap, or a plain glycerin bar, the kind with a short ingredient list. A bar runs $1 or so. You need washing soda. That is the white box in the laundry aisle, sodium carbonate. A box is about $4 and you will use a spoonful at a time, so one box lasts a year and then some. You need hot water, which costs you nothing, and if you like, 1 teaspoon of glycerin to keep it gentle on your hands, and a squeeze of lemon or a few drops of an oil for the smell. Those last two are wants, not needs. Now the making. You grate the bar of soap fine, the way you would grate cheese, about a half a cup of shavings. You bring 4 cups of water near to a boil and take it off the heat. You stir the soap shavings into the hot water and keep stirring slow until every shaving has melted away and the water goes cloudy and smooth. Then you stir in 1 to 2 tablespoons of the washing soda, start with 1, and that is the muscle of the recipe. It cuts grease and helps the soap do its work in hard water. Stir it till it dissolves. Add your spoon of glycerin and your lemon if you want them. Then you set the pot aside and leave it be. As it cools over a few hours, it will thicken into a soft gel, somewhere between water and store soap. If it sets too thick, you whisk in a little warm water until it pours the way you like. Pour it into an old bottle or a jar by the sink, and you are done. You have made the better part of a quart of dish soap for pennies, and you can make it again the moment it runs low. And if you have a big family and a big sink, make a big batch. Double it, triple it, grate 2 bars into 8 cups of water and a good heaping spoon of the soda, and pour it into a gallon jar to keep in the cupboard, topping off the little bottle at the sink as it empties. It keeps for months in the jar with no spoiling because there is nothing in it to go bad. No food, no oils that turn, just soap and mineral and water. Now and again the gel in the jar will set firm or part a little, the soap settling one way and the water the other. That is no trouble at all. A stir with a spoon or a shake of the jar brings it right back together, and if it ever sets too stiff, a splash of warm water loosens it. It is the most forgiving thing in the kitchen. This washes everything the bottle washes, and folks should hear the whole list because it is long. It washes the greasy plates and the cooked-on pots. It washes the cast iron skillet without stripping the seasoning if you go easy. It cuts the bacon grease and the burger grease and the fat off a roasting pan as well as anything I have ever bought in a bottle. It washes the drinking glasses and leaves them clear with no cloud, the silver and the everyday forks, the wooden spoons, the cutting boards, the canning jars before you fill them. It washes the children's sticky hands on the cup and the milk ring out of the bottom of a glass. It washes the coffee pot and the teapot and the inside of the kettle. It washes the dog's bowl and the chicken waterer and the milk pail. The washing soda gives it real backbone against grease, and the pure soap rinses clean and leaves no perfume taste on your coffee mug the next morning. There is hardly a thing in a kitchen this will not clean, but I will not let you think it is magic. It does not foam up into a mountain of bubbles like the store kind, and the first time you use it, your hand will reach for more because it does not feel soapy enough. Here is the truth that took me years to settle in, folks. The foam was never the cleaning. The companies add the foam because we have been trained to believe suds mean clean, and a flat, low-bubble soap feels weak even when the plate comes out spotless. Use it for a week and your eyes will adjust. The dishes are clean. The bubbles were always for you, not for the grease. It will thicken and sometimes separate a little if it sits a long while. Give the jar a shake or a stir and it comes right back. It is not ruined. In very hard water, you may want the second spoon of washing soda. And this is a recipe for washing dishes by hand at the sink. The automatic dishwasher is a machine that wants a different mix, and I will give you that one another day. So make it for the sink, use a little less than you think, and give your hands a week to forget the bubbles. Now here is the mistake folks make, and I will say it plain because getting this wrong wastes your whole pot. There are 2 white powders in the laundry aisle that look almost exactly the same, sit right next to each other, and cost about the same. One is washing soda. The other is baking soda. They are not the same thing, and the difference is enormous. Baking soda is the little box you put in the ice box. Sodium bicarbonate is mild. It is fine for scrubbing and for baking, but it is weak in this recipe. It will not cut the grease, and your soap will come out limp. Washing soda, sodium carbonate, the bigger box, often by the borax, is far stronger and far better at grease, and it is the one this recipe is built on. They look like twins in the box. They are not twins in the pot. So when you go to buy it, you read the box, and the box must say washing soda or sodium carbonate. Grab the baking soda by mistake, and you will think the recipe failed when it was only the wrong powder. Get the right box, and you have what every old kitchen kept by the sink, washing soda for the dishes every time. Keep your finished gel in a pump bottle or a squeeze jar right at the sink. You need only a small squirt, about half what you would use of the store kind, because there is no foam tricking you into using more. A little on the brush or in a sink of hot water goes a long way. For a sink full of dishes, a teaspoon of the gel swished into hot water makes a basin that washes a whole meal's worth. For the greasy cast iron, a dab straight on the brush and a quick scrub, then dry it well over the warm stove so it does not rust. For the burnt pot, a spoon of the gel and a sprinkle of dry washing soda, let it sit in hot water 20 minutes, and it lifts right off without a fight. For the glasses and the good silver, a thin, warm wash and a clear water rinse leaves them shining with no film. For the baby's bottles, a little of the gel and a bottle brush, then a good hot rinse, because it leaves no perfume behind to taste in the milk. For washing the garden vegetables, the carrots and the potatoes fresh from the soil, a tiny bit in the rinse water and a good clean water rinse after. For wiping the counter and the table, thin a little of the gel with water in a spray bottle, and you have a kitchen cleaner besides. A bigger splash in a bucket of hot water mops a kitchen floor. The same gel that does your dishes does half the cleaning in the room if you let it. And the small habits that make a $4 batch stretch a year. Scrape your plates well before they ever reach the water, so the soap does grease and not garbage. Wash in hot water, which does half the work for you and lets you use half the soap. Wash in an order, the glasses first while the water is cleanest, the greasy pans last, and one basin of suds does a whole meal. Make a fresh quart when the jar runs low instead of letting dishes pile, because it takes 10 minutes once a month and never feels like a chore if you keep ahead of it. Keep your grated soap and your box of washing soda together in the cupboard so the making is always close at hand, and save your old pump bottles and squeeze jars instead of throwing them out, because every one you keep is one you never buy again. Once it is a habit, you will not believe you ever carried bottles home from the store. Washing soda is stronger than baking soda, and it is alkaline, so treat it with the small respect you would give any cleaner. If your hands are tender, wear a glove while you mix the batch, and keep it out of your eyes. It is not a poison, and it is not lye, but it will dry and sting a little on raw skin in the bottle. Label your jar plainly so no one mistakes it for something else, and keep the box and the gel up where small children do not reach, the same as you would any soap. Once it is mixed and gentled with the glycerin and the water, it is kind on the hands at the sink. Kinder than many of the bottles, which are full of things you cannot pronounce. Sensible care, the same as you would give any cleaning thing in the house, and no more. Mix it in a well-aired kitchen, give the pot a moment to cool before you pour, and you will never have a bit of trouble with it. Generations of grandmothers made this at the stove with little ones underfoot, and the only rule they kept was the plain one: know which jar is which, and keep it up out of small reach. Now I want to take a moment, because this is the part that matters. Think about what we have just walked through: a bar of plain soap, a spoon of a common white mineral, and a pot of hot water. $4 of ingredients. A year of dish soap that cuts grease as well as the bottle, never spoils, makes no plastic to throw away, and costs less than a tenth of what you have been paying. And the company on the television sells your neighbor that same soapy water by the bottle, $4 and $5 at a time, again and again, for the whole of his life. How can both of those things be true at once? They both are. So why does almost nobody make their own? I will not tell you there is a villain in this, that some man in a boardroom is hiding the recipe from your eyes. It is simpler and almost worse. There is no money in teaching a family to make a year of soap from $4 at the sink. There is a fortune in selling that family a bottle every month forever. The whole business, the bottle, the brand, the blue color, the meadow smell, the advertisement that tells you more bubbles mean more clean, all of it is built on you buying again next month. A recipe you make once and repeat for pennies cannot pay for a television commercial. So no one runs one, and a whole nation grows up believing that soap is something you can only buy, never make. That is not a conspiracy. It is just how the money flows. My grandmother knew this recipe because her mother stood her on a stool and showed her the way I was shown. The bar of soap and the box of washing soda have been on the store shelf the whole time. Most folks were simply never told they could put them together themselves. You are being told now. So here is what I want you to do this week. Go to the store and buy 3 things: a bar of plain Castile or glycerin soap, a box of washing soda from the laundry aisle, read it twice, washing soda, not baking soda, and if you like, a small bottle of glycerin. It will all come to about $4, and the box of washing soda will outlast the year. Grate the soap, melt it in 4 cups of hot water, stir in a spoon of washing soda, let it cool into a gel, and pour it into a bottle by your sink. Use half of what you think you need. And then, this is the hard part for impatient folks, give your hands a week to forget the bubbles. The plates will come out clean. The grease will rinse away. And the next time you walk past that shelf of $4 bottles, you will keep right on walking. And tell me in the comments below what cleaning thing has been costing you the most over the years. The dish soap, the laundry soap, the counter spray, the dishwasher pods. Because the things you all name teach me what to show you next. And they teach the new folks more than I ever could. I read every single one. And once you have made your first batch, come back and tell me how it washed. Next time, since we have made the dish soap, I am going to show you the old way my people make the laundry soap, a year of it for a few dollars from nearly the same shelf that washes a farm family's clothes clean without a single bottle. It is the natural next step after today. Until then, grate the bar, melt it down, stir in the soda, and let the old kitchen recipe wash your dishes for pennies the way the bottle never will.